Well, hey guys, welcome to the channel. It's all about racing. In this Saturday's episode, we're going to take a look at this IXO 143 scale Aston Martin DBR9. And guys, I'm really excited to show you and talk about this car. This is one of the best IXO models I have ever seen. I've looked this thing over inch by inch, millimeter by millimeter. I'll tell you, it's virtually perfect. It's damn near as good as a Spark, with the exception of just one thing, which I'll point out, but just one thing only. Otherwise, it is phenomenal. Now, this car in particular comes on this plastic base that you see here, and if you move it around here, you can see it lists the name of the drivers, which were Gregor Fisken of Scotland, who is the owner of Fisken Historic Automobiles, and you'll see that on this car in several places. Also, Roland Breville of France and Patrick Bornhauser of France as well. And this car competed by Labre Competition in Le Mans in 2007. Now, the DBR9 was a GT1 race car built by Aston Martin and ProDrive. The car made its debut in 2005 and competed in the GT1 class until its end in 2011. It was made famous by a number of things. One, by two LMGT1 class wins at Le Mans in 2007-2008, the Constructor and Drivers Championship in 2006, and two FIA GT1 championships in 2006 and 2011. Now, this car, which I think is really cool, features a 6-liter DOHC 48-valve V12 naturally aspirated engine, and produces 625 brake horsepower after BOP. It's actually more than that, with a top speed of 195 miles an hour, even though I think it has been recorded going over 200 miles per hour. Now, one thing you'll notice on this car, and we'll take a look in more detail in just a moment, is the white roof that you have on it. I thought it was just, I don't know, an aesthetic detail, which I think kind of takes away from the car, to be honest with you. I'd prefer it to be British Racing Green like you have, but that was put on there by ProDrive, and it's supposed to be heat resistant, helping keep the cockpit temperatures down to the temperature of the drivers. And this was done by ProDrive in addition to installing air conditioners in these cars, which was required by the administrators of Le Mans. Now, this is a Labre Competition at DBR9 number 006, which is a privateer. Aston Martin had two DBR9s in 2006 and 2007 that featured the numbers of 007 and 009 in honor of James Bond. Ain't that cool? Now, guys, if you look real closely at this car, and by the way, this comes on this plastic base, it's got a jewel cover, and you see the box there in the background, but you are going to notice the details on this are exceptional. The only place this lacks, in my opinion, lacks detail is this. This car has a massive front splitter that has no carbon fiber detail on it, just plain black, which is kind of disappointing. But otherwise, this car is remarkable. If you take a close look at the grille on this, it is inlaid. It's just not cheap-ass painted plastic, as IXO typically does. Headlight detail is exceptional. Note you're going to see Fisken's Historic Automobiles. That's Gregor Fisken's company that was the gentleman driver of this car. And if we come up here and we move around and you look down inside here, and I'm going to try, you can actually see radiator detail within those slots. That is something that you never see on an Aston Martin. That is a Spark thing, and it is pretty cool. And the interior of the car is just exceptional as well. I love the red, white, and blue around the grille. I think that's a really neat touch, as well as having that on the windshield banner as well, and along the top of the car. And I think that might be in tribute to the French drivers. You also notice the French flag there as well, that you have, as two of the drivers are French with this particular car. The white roof we have talked about. Guys, if you take a look at the wheels, you're going to see Michelin tires, and you notice that you've got brake rotors and brake calipers that are visible. That is something you don't normally see on an Aston Martin. Down here, you have the exhaust coming out the side. Again, a nice touch that you normally don't get with IXO, as well as the fuel intake valve. And if you take a look at, the cabin of the car, you can see the Recaro seat. You can see a lot of detail. The windshield wiper is very nicely done. You've got two really cool aerials, and you can see the stick shift and everything else in there, which we'll take a look in just a moment. Very, very cool. Now the look from the passenger side that I think is really cool. The IXO bases are banked, which I think makes the car look really sharp, gives it a mean, aggressive look when you're looking at it. And if you look inside there, you'll see the stick shift, you'll see the transmission panel, you can see the seat, a lot of other cool details. Again, you have the exhaust coming out the side. You've got fuel inputs on both sides of the car, no matter where you look. Now, the rear of the car looks excellent. You've got really nicely well done plastic inlaid tail lights. You can see the tow hook. You've got a massive diffuser on here, as was typical of all the Aston Martins, even in 2007. However, this diffuser does lack carbon fiber detail. The rear wing on it looks phenomenal. You see Aston Martin Racing on the bottom, and you can see it on the top, but it too lacks carbon fiber detail, which would have been nice. It's just plain black. The interior of the car just looks exceptional from the rear here. You can see through the rear window, you see the fuel cell, a lot of the framework. Very, very cool, very sharp. Again, very, very nicely done by Aston Martin. And one thing I almost forgot to talk about, this green sparkle British racing green. It is frickin' gorgeous. Well, guys, I know this was a long video. I appreciate your sticking through it. If you have, I thank you. I think it was justified because this is a really cool car, and if you want to pick this up, it's a great value. You can probably get this car for less than 50 bucks. I think I paid less than that for it. And it's just as good almost as any Spark you'll get out there. A really beautiful car, available from IXO. You can probably find it on EAB now. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time.